This is by December, I had 6 hearings, which is in federal court. It's still unusual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you would be. I didn't think I needed to convince you of anything.
I had.
You did a good job.
Hey,
Get this back.
Okay.
You have to go look at the evidence.
Yeah.
And.
Just the number 4.
Number 4, okay.
Nice.
There's some, I like the raise there.
There's one.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Just one moment.
Are they like, are they readers?
All right, if everyone can please whisper, please. All right, Officer Avina. If you can unmute, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, thank you so much for zooming in. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
All right, so before me is Haley Moy. And my understanding, you all had difficulty contacting her? Or basically you had no contact with her?
So on her initial reporting for orientation date, she did not report. However, on the 2nd of January, I was able to make contact with her and conduct her orientation.
All right, when is
to go
her,
over her condition.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
On the 2nd of January, I did conduct her orientation for conditions of bond.
All right, so when's the last time you had contact with her? Was it the 2nd of January?
No, ma'am. So on the 1st of February, I had contact with her and she informed me she's on bed rest. However, we've never received any documentation.
All right, so I'm going to give her a deadline to give you all documentation. And I am going to want her in outpatient treatment. And if you could waive the fees for that, because she tested positive in court today.
Okay. Yes,
So
ma'am.
when are you going to have the documentation?
Yeah, I have an appointment next Wednesday with my doctor, and that's when I can get her handwritten. But right now, I'm just getting it on my chart from university. They don't let me screenshot anything. They said for security.
That's okay. So you're
Whatever.
saying Wednesday, the 21st?
Yes.
All right. So are you able to schedule an appointment with her on Thursday or Friday, the 22nd or 23rd?
I can.
No.
call.
I'm talking to him.
Oh, okay.
So, Your Honor, you wanted her to have outpatient treatment, is that correct?
Yes.
So I would actually have to submit a transfer to a separate section in our office, and that would be entirely based upon what they can do.
Okay. But before, so who would she? I want to make sure she reports and gives proof of the hospitalization.
Correct.
So can she report on the 22nd or 23rd?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with bond conditions. I want to continue with the random drug and alcohol testing. There is going to be outpatient treatment. And I'll ask that fees are waived since she has these medical issues.
Mhm.
And she is to report with proof of hospitalization and medical diagnosis
Oh, I just want to make sure.
and treatment. No later than February 22nd. Is there anything else you need from the court?
No.
All right. Is there anything else she's going to need with you all?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you so much for zooming in.
Yes, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. So Miss Moy, who brought you down here today?
My husband's mom,
No, there was a guy in court that you were hugged up with. Who was
my
that?
husband.
All right. So if he were drug tested, what would his results be? And let me just tell you, I'm not even asking.
Probably the same as mine.
All right. So this is the thing. You cannot be using drugs and be with the person who's using drugs. What's his name?
Probably
Cody what?
good at,
You don't know his last name?
good at all. I don't know how to say it. I'm not
No. I mean, you should know your boyfriend's or husband's last name.
good at all.
Is he in the hallway?
Mhm.
Have him come in. Could somebody call Cody to come in, please? Where are your parents?
They're not in the picture.
Do you have any family?
Um,
Oh, you know what? His name is on your face. Turn to the side. Let me see what it
no,
says.
it's not
Cody,
Banks.
is that his name?
No, that's not his last name.
Well, who is Cody Banks?
That's just what I got on my face. It's not his last name.
Okay. All right, what's your last name
Hello,
and your first name?
Cody.
And who's Cody Banks? All right, so you Cody Guerrero and Cody Banks?
It's just a nickname.
You didn't know his nickname?
Well, I saw my face.
No, I mean, I asked you who that was. I asked you if that's the same person.
Yeah,
You said
it
you don't
is.
know. All right, and there's Sue. So your mother is the person who brought you both down here today? And brought you all both from where?
My grandma.
All right, so you all are living with your grandmother?
Yeah, she has a house in the back. Yeah, we stay.
All right, I'm sure your grandmother doesn't want people living in with her who are using. So this is what's going to end up happening. And I want you to listen to me very carefully. If you need a place to stay, it's not going to be with him. I'm ordering no contact with Cody Guerrero or Cody Banks. And let me just tell you what the reason why I'm doing that. He's using, he's not under any type of jurisdiction of the court, so he can continue to use if he so choose. I don't recommend doing that because I don't think you want your grandmother or your mom to have to identify your body. You need to go somewhere and get into treatment. And whose name is over your eyebrow?
It's Vanessa.
Vanessa what?
Vanessa.
Finessing? What are you finessing?
Everything.
All right, not doing a good job, but okay. So here's the thing. You are not allowed to live with him. He's in the throes of his addiction. You're in the throes of your addiction. And two people who are in the throes of their addiction cannot help each other. Because if you try to stop using, which you're going to have to, guess what? If he's using, you're going to want to use. And if you try to stop using and she wants to use, you're going to use because you're together. So you're not allowed to live with him anymore. You understand?
Mhm.
So there's Haven for Hope, there's Salvation Army. They actually have a great women's program as well. And you can try Lifetime Recovery. And I'll add on here a referral to Lifetime Recovery. But you should not be with him. And do you have employment?
No, I received Social Security.
For what?
Schizophrenia.
I'm sorry, for what?
Schizophrenia.
All right. So you should not be coming down with her for this. You understand? And you all shouldn't be dragging your mother and your grandmother into this. All right. And you don't want anybody to have to identify your body because the last time you use may be the last time you use. And don't be going to hospitals and doctors to try and get medications when you really shouldn't be getting medications. Do not doctor shop, because when you doctor shop, if one of those doctors, for example, forgets to put something in a system or something breaks down with communication, another doctor could prescribe you something that could cause you to have your life ended. You understand?
Yes.
So I'm going to email Stephen Avina and I'm going to tell him to add no contact with Cody Guerrero, Cody Banks, and a referral to Lifetime Recovery. And just as a side note, when you're doing tattoos of people's names on your body, there are only two safe choices. Your mom, because usually people's moms love them and they're always going to be there for them, and children. If you end up leaving him, guess what? Your boyfriend going to be asking, who is Cody Banks? You may be able to slide a little bit because Cody Banks is the name of a Nickelodeon show, but otherwise you're not going to be able to slide. You understand? All right. Good luck to you. Make sure you report to pretrial
Is
services.
my other court date reset?
No, it's the same.
So for today?
Ms. Ferguson, if you can make sure she has a reset form so she'll know when to come back to this court, but you're going to pretrial services on February 22nd.
Yes.
And then you have a different date to come back here, okay?
Okay.
All right. And make sure next time you come in, tops need to be able to cover the stomach, okay? All right. Good luck to you. And we are going to bring in the jurors. And then after we take a break, we'll take up the other cases.
I already talked to Les, and we're just, we're gonna head upstairs, get some stuff done, and Norm's gonna text us when we're done.
All right, well, I can tell you is my understanding, they have one witness left,
They said
and
it-
usually we'll take a break after that.
They said
and-
maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay,
Yeah, so we'll head back down.
all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, court is calling 2020 CR 10218, State of Texas versus Jesse Hinojo. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hallie Jackson and Zach Dunn.
Defense?
John Reitmeyer?
All right. Are both parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And Judge, just so you know, our next victim, or our next witness is the outcry, and they've said that they will stipulate and they don't need an outcry hearing.
Oh, no, according to the rules, we have to have an outcry hearing. Deputy Mejia, could you let her to hold off the jurors?
It'll just be fast then. Judge.
Sure. All right, let's call the witness for the outcry hearing.
State call Sam Abrego.
Hello, if you raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record, please.
First name is Samuel, last name is Abrego.
All right, if you'll spell your last name, please.
That's Abrego.
All right, state.
Thank you. Mr. Abrego, are you 18 years of age or older?
Yes,
Okay. How are you currently employed?
I am the forensic interviewing manager at ChildSafe.
And have you had reason to meet a child by the name of Christina Hinojo?
Yes.
How did you come to meet Christina Hinojo?
Do a forensic interview. I conducted a forensic interview with her.
At the time, was she 14 years of age or younger?
She was younger.
And while speaking to her, did she make any statements to you about being sexually abused?
She did.
Where or when were those statements made?
The time of the interview was back in 2020. I believe it was January 7th, 2020
And where were those statements made?
at ChildSafe.
What was Christina's demeanor when she was making these statements?
She presented a bit guarded, reserved, with her head down, her hair covering her face.
Did she have any other emotional behaviors while she was making these statements?
Yes, at times it was hard to see her face, but I could hear that she was emotional, crying.
To your knowledge, were you the first person who Christina told these acts about in any serious detail?
Yes.
In brief detail, what statements were made regarding the sexual abuse?
She outcried, she stated that she was sexually abused, which she further clarified as raped, and she went into stating that it happened 3 separate incidents, and she described the third incident, the last incident in detail. Outcry to genital contact, skin to skin penetration.
Did she identify a defendant?
Yes,
And what was that person's name?
Jesse Hinojo.
And at this time, we would offer him as our outcry witness, Your Honor.
No questions. Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. If
Thank
you'll
you.
step down.
The record for a moment.
Yes, I'm trying to write something in.
Oh.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, state, call your next witness.
State call Sandra Brago.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury and the court reporter can hear it. You can state your name for the record.
First name is Samuel, last name is Abrego.
All right, state.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Mr.
Good
Brago.
afternoon.
How are you currently employed?
I'm the forensic interviewing manager at ChildSafe.
What is Child Safe?
ChildSafe is the only children's advocacy center here in Bexar County.
What's a Children's Advocacy Center?
ChildSafe, we provide specialized services for children and their non-offending families that have been traumatized by abuse and neglect.
And you, what kind of services do you guys offer?
Well, the main core service is the forensic interview, but we also offer clinical services and community awareness like education programs.
Can you tell the jury about what a forensic interview is and what its purpose is?
So the forensic interview is a fact-finding method of interviewing children, adolescents, adults with disabilities as well, that is done through a neutral perspective.
What do you mean by neutral?
That means basically essentially all the information that is obtained during the forensic interview is from what comes from the child.
What kinds of questions do you ask kids? Is there any special technique you use?
Yes, we ask open-ended questions that are non-leading.
Are you guys affiliated with law enforcement in any way?
We work in collaboration partnership.
But you yourself are not law
No.
enforcement? How do cases come to Child Safe?
Through a referral process by the investigating parties, which could be CPS or law enforcement, or in some cases, like even APS, for example.
So it's not always law enforcement that starts it.
No,
And what types of things do you interview kids for?
the majority are allegations of sexual abuse, but also for physical abuse, witness to a crime as witnesses. We also interview victims of human trafficking, neglectful supervision
How long have you been employed at Child Safe?
for 6 years now.
What's your educational background?
So I have a bachelor's degree in architecture, but all my history has been related to social work.
What types of training do you guys have to go through to work at Child Safe and be a forensic interviewer?
So in order to begin conducting forensic interviews, we have to go through essentially a block 1 through the CAC of Texas, which is the main hub that supervises all the other CACs. There's a total of 72 CACs in the state of Texas. And they supervise and they provide the curriculum. And so we're all trained through the semi-structured narrative process, which consists of best practices and protocols on how to conduct a forensic interview.
What is kind of the best practice to conduct a forensic interview?
And so it's tailored into a way, it's structured into, there's different steps to the forensic interview, beginning with preparation of like the room, for example, the forensic interview room. Beginning with an initial phase of rapport, just building a connection, the right environment where it's comforting for the children to speak. Going into an event narrative practice as well is part of the rapport. And what basically what that means is that we'll ask the children, the person that's being interviewed, to give us, for example, to an event and for them to describe it step by step from beginning to end. Because in the later part of the interview, that's part of the information that we elicit. We want them to respond in a narrative fashion. From there, do you want me to proceed?
Sure. So you kind of start with kind of rapport, getting to know the kids, and then what's the next step you take?
From there, there's an explanation of rules, for example, that if we ask the children something that they don't understand, or if it sounds confusing for them, to let us know that we can ask it in a better way or in a different way. Another rule that we explain is that if we get something wrong or incorrect, that it's okay, and it's very important for them to let us know so that we can fix that and correct it. Another rule is that if we ask something that they don't know or they don't remember, that it's okay for them to express those things to us. From there, we transition to what it's called truth, lie, oath. And that's basically, we'll have the kiddos define what it means to tell the truth, what it means to tell a lie, and if they agree to tell the truth, all we talk. From there, we go into what is called introduction of topic of concern, basically, and tell me the reason that you're here today. And it's a very open-ended way. Sorry.
Sorry, she tells me to slow down a lot too, but just gotta work on it. So do you know beforehand the reason for a child coming in to be interviewed?
Yes, we do.
And how are you given that knowledge?
So that consists of part of a pre-staff that we have prior to the actual interview. A pre-staff is held in the observation room, which is next to the interview room. People involved in the pre-staff is the forensic interviewer, an advocate from Child Safe, and the investigating parties. And so information that is presented at that point, for example, the allegations, simple demographic information as well, and what information is needed.
During your time at Child Safe, how many forensic interviews have you conducted?
I've done a little bit under 2,300.
2,306 years?
Yeah, so exactly, it's 2,248 interviews.
How many have you ever had to testify before as a forensic interviewer?
I don't know the exact number, but it's been 10 or 12.
Now, you said that they can get referred by police or by CPS.
Correct.
Is one more common than the other? Or is it just really depend?
Just kind of depends.
Are you familiar with a child by the name of Christina Hinojo?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with Christina?
I interviewed her in January 7th of 2020 at Child Safe.
Was that before COVID hit?
That was right before.
So when you interviewed her, was it kind of the same setup you're talking about? Like you followed the same structure?
That's correct.
Do you recall who had referred the case to have her interviewed? What agency?
CPS.
So it didn't come from a police agency, it came from CPS.
And CPS, that's correct.
Did you know what the allegations were or have any sort of general idea at the time?
I just knew that it was regarding a sex abuse allegation, but there weren't details to it.
And so you said you interviewed her in January of 2020, correct?
Correct.
When you interviewed her, do you know how old she was?
Yes.
How old was she?
13.
She's 13. And while you were interviewing her, kind of, before we get into what she talked about, what was her demeanor when she came in to get interviewed?
She was quiet. She was short with her responses. She was a bit guarded. But she presented with like her elbows on her thighs, with her head down, with her hair covering her face.
What do you mean by guarded?
Normally, sometimes what I mean by that is that she was just quiet and short with her responses.
While talking to you, did she make any statements about being sexually abused?
She did.
And to your knowledge, were you the first adult that she had told in detail what had happened to her?
In detail, yes.
So who did she identify as being someone who had abused, as being the person who had abused her?
She said her cousin, Jesse Hinojo.
What did she tell you happened?
She stated that she was sexually abused. She clarified that that meant rape. She stated that it happened on 3 separate occasions. She described the third time as the last time that it occurred, and she's outcried to genital contact, that it was skin to skin and penetration. She also outcried to hand to chest contact. She stated that her cousin had tried to rope her breast.
Her breast. Did she specify how long ago this had happened when you were speaking
She
to her?
stated that it happened in the beginning of the year, last year. She said those were her words. So the year prior, she stated that she was in the 6th grade.
How old is someone typically in 6th grade?
I don't,
So if it's the year prior and she was 13, about 12.
yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I can never remember how old I was in different grades either. What was her demeanor when she, like, how was she reacting when she started going into details about this with you?
Prior to me eliciting sensory details or surrounding details or contextual type of details, she did state that, do I have to talk about this? She also did say she indicated that that she let it happen, that it was a mistake. She was blaming herself.
She said that she let it happen. In your time interviewing, over 2,000 kids, was her interview normal or in any way kind of outside the norm?
No, it wasn't different then.
Is it common to see kids blame themselves?
Yes.
Do you know why that is? Just in your training and experience.
Many times there's a lot of different barriers to disclosure. Many kids, it doesn't even matter what age, they don't understand what's occurring at the time. They don't know what is happening is right or wrong. And many times perpetrator can be a breadwinner, for example. And when the outcry comes out, things, the home environment could be changed, could be dramatically shifted. Many times they will blame themselves for coming forward.
Do kids often not want to talk about the allegations?
It does happen.
Have you ever had a kid who just complained?
Yes.
So you managed to get her to talk, even though she was reluctant, it would be fair to say.
I reassured her.
Did she express any, or sorry, me, withdraw that question. Was it unusual for her to be out crying to something that had happened at least a year prior, or what's
No.
kind of, can you tell us a little about why kids in your experience don't outcry right away?
It just happens in different ways for different people, and people, children, adolescents, adults in general, process trauma in different ways. Sometimes it's a accidental type of outcry where, for example, what that mean is that a child can make an outcry to a friend who the friend then tells a counselor and it's reported. That would be accidental. It just, sometimes it can be purposeful. Sometimes maybe someone is ready to talk about something, can't withhold it much longer. It varies.
Did most kids tell right away?
No,
So it's more common to wait. Now, when you interviewed Christina and she was telling you all the details, was she able, you use the word sensory details, was she able to give you sensory details?
she did.
What are sensory details?
Sensory details are things like, for example, the questions would be, tell me everything that you could feel, which is the way that the question is structured is in an open-ended way as opposed to what could you feel, which is a little more direct. But tell me everything you could feel, that you could see everything related to the senses.
Why do you ask for sensory details?
It gives more credibility to the statement,
To what?
to the statement that is said.
And she was able to kind of describe how things felt.
Yes,
Do you remember any of the ways that she described how these encounters felt?
she described that she could feel a bulge. She also described that she was penetrated with the tip of the genital.
And you said she was able to describe 3 different incidents, correct?
Yes.
Did she express how she felt about telling you all of this, or was she, was she emotional the whole time? Did she eventually settle in? Just how did her, maybe I asked too many questions. Let me retract that. What was her emotional state just kind of throughout the entire thing?
I feel that for the most part, she was the same. She presented the same throughout the entire interview. That guarded demeanor was the same, even from rapport all the way through into the closure part of the interview.
So after she told you all of this, what step did you take after hearing her give these details?
The steps, I'm not sure I'm understanding.
Did you have to alert anyone after this? Because you said that this.
After the forensic interview?
Yeah.
Yes. As my duty, responsibility as a mandated reporter, I filed a police report.
Because as you said earlier, the police hadn't been involved yet.
That's correct.
While you were conducting the interview, was anybody observing the interview from another room?
The CPS investigator?
I'm gonna pass the witness for now, Your Honor.
Defense.
Excuse me. I have 1 second of the 1 minute of the court time, Judge.
Yes.
Mr. Abrego, before this hearing, what materials did you review about this?
The forensic interview itself.
You reviewed the video itself? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I believe you were talking to the first part of meeting with the child in the room, getting to know them and that sort of thing. You recall that part?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember asking her what had happened that morning?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what she said?
I believe she described her day and from the time that she woke up to her arrival at Child Safe. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you remember her mentioning anything about having a fight with her mom that morning?
Object to relevance and hearsay.
That'll be overruled.
I don't recall.
Okay. Yeah, you don't recall her saying that her mom got mad at her that morning?
I don't recall that part of that portion of the interview.
Do you recall her saying after that, I did kind of exaggerate that?
No, I don't.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we need to take a matter outside your presence, so I'm going to give you a break. And remember my rules. Everything that you need to know about this case comes from. All right, thank you. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. Norma, if you want to call the state down because they want. So if you'll call them down, we can take that up and that way we can get them sent.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone, please be seated.
That's it. Don't cheat me.
Oh, let me have him come up. Yes. Sebastian Delgado.
Your Honor, would you like me to text Hank Wilkins or?
Yes. You made it back on time. Okay, you're still not speaking. You made it on time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, awesome. See, was that hard?
No.
I'm going to put my headphones
All right, so your attorney, let me see who your attorney is. David Garcia. So your attorney had a family emergency. So say yes or no, no head nodding, because I don't understand that, okay?
No.
All right, so your attorney had a family emergency, so he can't be here today. So we're going to reset your case. And when I give you your reset date, do not be late for court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ferguson, what date are we calling this back? Because he's on a pretrial diversion. Yes, we can do 30 days. All right, so we're going to bring you back on March 19th. And it's going to be at 9 a.m. And I'm going to write down, this is the second time that you shown up to court late. I know you're young, but do not show up to court late again. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. They're going to give you a reset form. Linda Flores. All right. Could I see the file on Linda Flores or her violation report? Thank you. Deputy Laura, if you can make the announcement in the hallway for Linda Flores, please, or Deputy Mejia. And Diana, are you okay to go on the record on this case? That's about to be called. Okay. And could I have a prosecutor, please? Court is calling 2024 CR 0492, State of Texas versus Linda Rose Flores for the state.
Exact time for the state, Your Honor.
All right, this hearing was called at 9 a.m. It's now 2:13 p.m. The defendant has not made an appearance. Also, the defendant is here for a second violation report. And the pretrial officers have stated that they've had no contact with her. Okay.
And Your Honor, the state would respectfully request a bond forfeiture.
All right, the court will grant a judge's warrant and remand her without bond. If she makes an appearance, the court will reconsider.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Norma, let's make sure to contact the pretrial services people to make sure that she didn't show up today with them. All right. Who is his attorney?
I think it's Mr. Brown.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring him back on Tuesday. And he needs to be out here. An
It
order.
will happen if it's an order, Judge. It will
No,
happen.
no, it's an order. So on Tuesday, he's gonna have to be out here because he's supposed to come forward for sentencing. So. Ah, hi, Jorge. How's it going?
I'm good.
Hi, your client does not want to appear. So I don't know if you want to talk to him at the jail over the weekend, but we're going to be bringing him out Tuesday for sentencing.
It's an MTR.
Oh, it's an MTR. We're going to bring him out on Tuesday for his MTR. So if he chooses not to appear voluntarily, then he's going to be brought over involuntarily.
Okay,
All right.
I'll go see him.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you, Jed.
They had just told me that you don't want to come.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, thanks.
And has he had a chance to review what y'all want?
No,
I
he's,
believe counsel is,
he's pulling up stuff. He has the video up. I don't know what he's looking for.
All right. Thank you.
Did you want me to recall since he's in the hospital?
Recall it for the 20th, and if he does not appear. Well, no, this needs to, because he's on, because of the nature of what he's on probation for, recall this for Friday.
Mark?
Yes. My understanding is that the defense counsel did speak to the state. Did John Longoria speak to you all involving Mr. Klein?
No, you're not.
no, because I had asked, he had shown up and he had not.
Okay, so this is going to be recalled for tomorrow?
That's the MTR.
Yes.
I'm inclined to be here tomorrow, Judge.
Okay,
Wow.
that's a stretch, but
That's a
okay.
tough one. Yeah, no, I'm not. I did, yeah.
I think Joe Longoria talked to Anna, but the last time something was that, like, it's been at least 2 weeks since he's spoken to Anna.
Oh, let me make sure I put the right date in there. Yes. Oh, I did, thank you. Hold on.
And here's.
Judge, you want me to just take this
Yeah.
up there and have?
Yes. Or either if it's easier for him to step down to view it at your table, that's fine too.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Bernardo Huerta. Who's the attorney for Bernardo Huerta?
It's a, he's back big one.
Yes.
He's right here, Judge.
Hi, they're bringing your person out.
They not think I'm
We
here.
need 88.
Oh, they're coming down.
Jason left. Oh. Yeah, we're.
All right, did you and Mr. Garahan have a proposed
Yes.
agreement?
I think we do. I just need to, I talked to the probation department, we have to do with them, and then there's a slight modification, but I think.
I use them.
Can I use them? Is that okay?
I don't mind as long as you.
Yeah, I'll use them.
Here?
Yeah, it's a.
Oh, sure. You're welcome. Oh, and that one's done. And I think this is our last case.
I'll use one.
I'll clean.
Oh, no, Judge asked for that one by itself, something off docket matters. I gave it to her, she handed it right back. She said she was.
Oh, yes, I'm done with that. That was off docket. No, that was a request for the ignition interlock to be removed. And so I filled that out. All right, and as soon as Jason comes down,
I let them know, Judge, I give Hank a call right now just to double up on my.
okay,
Mr. Kimberly on this floor.
all right,
Violation report.
all right, if you will let him. Oh. Oh, she didn't show, so.
She was a no-show?
I couldn't contact.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to call the pretrial services officer, he's on there. Maybe she showed up today with them, maybe not.
Oh, I mean, call over to the office and talk?
Yes, if you want to call pretrial services, because sometimes they'll show up. Well, I mean, if you want to call them now,
Yeah,
to
they're
see if she
sitting-
showed up today, because I've already,
It's over there.
I've issued a judge's warrant. So if she showed up there, I'll
Thank you.
consider recalling that,
Okay.
because I know there are some other issues.
Right. I doubt if she should back. I told her to, I left her a message to be here, but
Mhm.
I couldn't ever. Okay, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. And did you have a chance to listen to
Yeah.
everything?
Do that portion that he wanted me to listen
A lot of
to.
this after the question again, and then we can. Okay, Judge, I think we're ready whenever you are.
All right, we're just gonna take up Leslie's case very quickly, and then we'll bring the jurors back out. Norma, I'm so lucky to have this little fan. And Mr. Sekwanowicz, was it a partial agreement or no agreement? What was it?
It's an agreement, Judge.
And what is the agreement?
Agreement is to, I don't have the.
Oh. We're not on the record yet, but I mean, what was the proposed agreement between you and?
With the agreement was to keep Mr. Huerta in,
A mental health evaluation and a TAP evaluation in custody.
And was the state in agreement with that recommendation?
yes.
Yes.
All right,
Now, on my recommendation on the court summary, it also gives DDRF. However, I would like to see the TAP in the, because we don't have a TAP on file at all, and the mental health evaluation comes out to be before we settle on inpatient, outpatient. I would recommend extra time, but I don't have anything to really essentially
all right.
inpatient at this time.
Okay. Mr. Huerta, if you'll come down, please.
This is the team's on.
Thank you. Court is calling 2022 CR 6940, State of Texas versus Bernardo C. Huerta. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state
Done for the state.
defense?
Leslie Sahanovich, Mr. Huerta.
Are you Mr. Huerta?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you the same Bernardo C. Huerta who was placed on community supervision in 2022 CR 6940 for the offense of robbery on July 18, 2023 for a term of 8 years? Is that you?
Yes.
Right, state.
Your Honor, in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Bernardo C. Huerta did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of September and October 2023 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Sure.
State,
Your Honor, the state will waive and abandon the other conditions.
any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, sentence you up to 8 years in the prison and up to a $500 fine?
Yes.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, there is.
And what is that agreement?
Counsel.
The proposed agreement is his detention at the Berry County Jail, mental health evaluation, a TAP evaluation, depending on the TAP evaluation, possible outpatient treatment, or inpatient treatment.
All right, and probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your recommendation?
Yes. Yes.
All right, is there something you wish to say, Mr.
He had
Huerta?
he had a question, Judge.
Oh, do you have a question?
For me.
Okay. All right, Mr. Huerta, if there's anything you do not understand, just let the court know. So there will be a denial of the motion. I'll alternate amend conditions to include the following while in custody. A TAP evaluation. Follow the recommendations. If for any reason the TAP recommends inpatient treatment and there's a disagreement to that, you can always come back to the court and I'll review things to see if that's appropriate. And there's to be a MIC evaluation in custody. And probation, if for some reason MIC is suggesting a DDRF evaluation after that, then we'll follow through with the DDRF as well.
I think they did. That would be not, no, never mind, Judge.
All right, probation, is there anything else from him?
No, Judge.
Is there anything you need from the court other than this?
No, Your Honor, but I already had a TAP evaluation just a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago? So what will end up happening, the probation will receive that then, so you won't be waiting for the TAP, you'll just be waiting for the MIC evaluation. And before he was placed on probation, we did not do a PSI, correct?
I was not his attorney.
I don't think we did. So is there any gang affiliation with you, sir? Okay. All right. Anything else from probation? Okay. No problem. All right. Is there anything else you need from the court other than this? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. In order to be successful on probation here, communication is key. So if there's an issue that's going on with you in your life, let probation know. If you feel like probation is not addressing it, you can always come back to court. The only days we are not here are holidays and weekends. You understand? All right, good luck to you, okay? You're welcome.
Excuse me,
Yes,
and apologies for being late this morning, but I got stuck in a couple of.
no problem. You should have just said apologies for being late, period, because then when you say stuck in other courts, you know what that says? Other courts are more important than the
No, I
one.
didn't
in
let me leave. That's.
Well, you should say you were held captive.
I was actually that, no, I'm gonna say that from now on. That's actually very accurate.
You should say you
I
were
was-
falsely
I was held
imprisoned.
captive and County court 12 for an hour and a half.
Okay, you shouldn't have even mentioned that it was county court.
It wasn't the judge who happened.
No, I mean, you shouldn't have mentioned county court because this is a district court.
I know.
Les, you're digging yourself in a hole here.
I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving.
Represent him, help dig him out. Okay, is everybody ready to bring the jurors back in?
Yes.
All right. And Jason, thank you for coming down.
Sorry. Think I already.
Yeah.
I ran away, but no, there he is. Oh, yes.
I looked over and I saw him and then, yeah,
Yeah.
blends in.
Oh, dude. Oh. I thought you missed it. Oh.
And I think that is everyone for today.
Oh, yes, and I saw him go out there. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was, I was in another court.
Was it a county court?
All right. So, you all have a good day.
All right, thank you.
I'll be out visiting witnesses tomorrow morning.
Good luck with that.
Fine. So I'll yell later.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. We're ready. Yes.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. And defense
Thank
is
you.
your witness.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, Mr. Abrego, we took a little break there. I'm gonna re-ask the question I just asked you. Going through it, do you remember a portion when you got to know her where Christina said she got in a fight with her mom?
Yes, she said that her mom was upset with her.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you recall a part also a few seconds later where she said, I did exaggerate that?
I don't recall that part.
Counsel, if you want to approach the witness, and do you have earphones or?
do.
All right, and if you can play the witness the part that you want them to hear.
Can I approach it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, Mr. Abrego, same question. Do you recall a portion of the video where Christina said, I did kind of exaggerate that?
Yes, sir.
Did that give you any reason for pause in
No,
your interview?
no.
Now, Christina told you this alleged act happened 3 times, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you recall what she said happened the first time?
I recall her telling me that the second time was the same as the third time, and that the first time he rubbed her genitals with his genitals.
Okay, and just to make sure I'm not confused, you said the second time was the same as the third time or the first time?
The third time.
Third time, okay. Do you recall what she said happened the first time?
That he rubbed her genital with his genital.
Do you recall where she said that happened?
The first time,
That's correct, sir.
I don't recall that.
If I told you that she said it happened in my client's bedroom, would you have any reason to argue with me about that?
If, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm
Let me
understanding. the
rephrase the
question.
question. If I told you that based on my understanding, my review of the tapes, that she stated that the first time the assault happened in his bedroom, my client's bedroom,
Okay,
would you have any reason to argue with that statement?
as in to give my opinion on it?
Not your opinion as to just what she
Oh,
said,
no.
where it happened.
No.
Okay. And if I told you, based on my understanding and my review of it, that she said the third time the assault happened in her bedroom.
That's correct.
Object to counsel testifying.
Sustained.
Do you recall where she said the assault happened the third time?
Her better.
In her bedroom. And based on what you said, it would follow that the second time happened in the same spot, correct?
She indicated that it happened the same as in the third time.
Now, when someone comes in for one of these forensic interviews, how much in terms of additional facts do y'all collect about the person coming in?
Prior to the forensic interview?
Right.
It depends how much information is stated on like the referral form that we receive
Okay.
in the referral process. Sometimes it's minimal, sometimes it's detailed. It's different.
So is it fair to say, once you get one of these referral forms, you don't go out looking for extra things about this person? Is that correct?
My job as a forensic interview is to explore.
Just answer the question, sir. Would it be a correct statement that you do not go searching for additional facts or data about a person who is coming in for an interview?
I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
Let me break it down.
Yeah,
Let's assume I am going to come in for a video or for a forensic interview. Let's assume you've been giving a referral form about me, so you know my name and stuff like that.
correct.
Okay. Once you get that, y'all aren't going to go searching through police records or anything for
No,
any
sir.
other data. Okay. And when someone gives a story about something that happened, would it be fair to say that you don't do any independent fact checking?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay,
that
so if I hypothetically, if I came in
Mhm.
for an interview and I said sexual assault happened to me, you yourself or another person of the child safe staff aren't going to go looking into the facts of what I just said or stated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You let investigators handle that,
Correct.
correct? You let the investigators make determinations about if something happened or something didn't happen.
That's correct.
So really, I guess my question to you is, if I had to simplify your job description at that exact moment when you're giving an interview, your job is just get the person talking,
To gather a statement.
and that's it? Did you take a break during the interview?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Who did you converse with during the break?
I don't remember who I talked to. I do remember stepping out because I asked her if she needed to take a break. She said yes. I went out to get her a water bottle and I came back. I don't remember if I spoke to the investigator or not. I don't recall. It's been a while.
And that's fair. When you do take breaks during these interviews, do you converse with investigators sometimes?
Yes, so it's common practice to step out during the forensic interview, right? When we feel we've gathered most of the information, we'll step out to consult with the investigating parties in the observation room, follow up with them, and ask if they have any follow-up questions or any clarification that they might need. And then we'll go back into the interview room, ask the remaining questions, and wrap up our interview.
So when you converse with law enforcement, you're really gathering information for them, are you not?
Correct.
At the beginning of an interview, when you're with someone, you tell them that it's being recorded?
Yes.
You tell them it's being observed by other people?
No, unless they ask.
Do you tell them that law enforcement is involved
If the person is being interviewed asks, yes.
if they ask?
Yes.
How often do they ask?
It's mostly the adolescents that ask, mostly from my personal experience, victims of human trafficking. But it's rare that they ask.
And you're here today to relate what the child said, not to make any determination.
What the child said, yes.
I'll pass the witness judge.
State?
Just a few, so just to clarify, Child Safe and just child advocacy centers in general, they're not investigative bodies, correct?
We are not investigating parties.
You describe them as neutral.
Correct.
And at the time you interviewed Christina, am I correct in saying that your testimony was that law enforcement was not involved at that time?
That's correct.
Now, earlier, when you were answering questions for defense, you said that the fact that she stated, oh, I exaggerated that. What was that in reference to?
She mentioned that she had gotten upset with her siblings and she yelled at them, and mom got upset with her.
That's what she was exaggerating about.
Yes.
And you stated that gave you no pause. Defense asked you that. Why didn't it give you any pause?
Because I let her continue going through her narrative of her morning.
Do kids sometimes exaggerate small things like that?
I'm sorry?
Do kids sometimes exaggerate small things like that?
Yes.
Does that mean that they're a liar necessarily?
Objection, speculation.
His training and experience.
Right, that'll be sustained.
I'm gonna pass the witness.
Defense?
I have nothing further, Judge,
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excuse from the state, Your Honor.
and defense.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. State, call your next witness.
State rest, Your Honor.
Defense? Do you need a recess?
May I have just a couple minutes?
Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring you back at 3. Remember my previous instructions. You're not to start deliberating with yourself or with each other. You're not allowed to discuss this case with anyone or see anything. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
before we start, may we approach real quick for a quick housekeeping?
Yes.
matter?
All right, defense, do you have any witnesses?
We do, Your Honor.
All right, call your first witness, please.
We'd like to call Guadalupe Hinojo.
Guadalupe, and I'll,
It's in the hallway.
oh,
If I
yes.
grab her.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please.
For the chair.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, and please make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury and the court reporter can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
My name is Guadalupe Hinojo.
all right, defense.
Just for ease of accuracy for the court reporter, could you spell your name for her, please?
Yes, sir. Guadalupe. And my last name is Hinojo.
Thank you. Do you go by Guadalupe or do you have another preferred name?
They call me Lupe.
Are you familiar with Jesse Hinojo?
Yes, sir. He's my nephew.
What about Christina Hinojo?
She's my niece.
Where do you live right now?
I live in Edinburgh, Texas.
Down in the valley?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever live in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
Where did you live?
I lived with my brother and my sister-in-law in their house.
Your brother and your sister-in-law, who are they?
My brother is Rogelio Hinojo, and my sister-in-law is Rosa Maria Hinojo.
Was this a residence at 4154 Hunter's Son?
I believe that's in Kirby. Is that Kirby? Yes, I think it would be that one because I think they had two houses, but I lived with them in Kirby. I don't remember the address.
Okay, that's fair. Did you, was there anyone else in the house that lived with you?
Yes, sir. My nieces, which is Christina, my other niece, which is Carmen, and then my little nephew, which is Rogelio Jr. My other baby niece, which is what's her name?
It was another kid.
Yes, just another baby, and then Jesse.
Okay. So you were living at the house at the time when Jesse was living there, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you doing up there at the house?
I was helping out my brother and my sister-in-law taking care of the kids.
Okay. Did they ask you to come up?
I actually came over here for just to get like a better paying job. But for the meantime, I was helping out my brother and my sister-in-law because they both would work all the time. So I was like, okay, I'll give out that helping hand to take care of my nieces and nephews.
So you weren't working at the time?
No, sir, not at the time.
Okay. Were they making you pay rent?
No, sir.
No. What did you have to do?
Basically, I would cook, clean. I would wake up, take my nieces and nephews to school, pick them up from school, take the smaller ones, which is the two little babies that they were still in Pampers. Sometimes I would drop them off at daycare, with her cousin. We would kind of take turns taking care of the two little ones, but most of the times it was me.
But let me stop you right there. You said, and I'm sorry if I missed this. You said you would take turns taking care. Who would you be taking turns with?
Just the little boy, which is Rogelio Jr.
Okay.
And sometimes she would take the baby girl, but most of the time it was me taking care of her. Cause that's his godmother. There you go.
Is it fair to say you were around the kids a lot?
A lot, all the time. Yes.
Okay. Do you recall approximately when you would take them to school and when they'd come home from school?
Well, I would wake up early in the morning, like around 6:30 a.m. Wake the kids up, get them ready, tell them to take a bath, get them ready, prepare some breakfast for them real quick, then take the truck, go drop them off by, let's say 7:45 the latest. And then pick them up after school. Sometimes they would stay for tutoring, sometimes they wouldn't. So I don't have like a specific time on what time, but I believe like the latest would be around 3:45 p.m.
So you would do, while they were at school, you would do house chores and
Yes,
stuff around
I
the
would
house.
I would wash clothes, wash dishes, mop, sweep, anything in general that has to do with cleaning the house.
And then when they came back from school, were you, for lack of a better term, kind of their direct nanny while the
Yes.
parents were gone?
Yes, I love them all. And they love me too. We had great communication. I would take care of them all the time. It was me.
And in addition to the kids, you also saw Jesse, is that correct?
Excuse me?
In addition to taking care of the kids, you also saw Jesse around the house.
Yes, but not a lot because he would work and go to school. He would attend college. That was his big thing, school and working. So no, he wasn't around all the time.
Did he help you around the house when asked?
Yes,
Do you ever have any issues with Jesse?
no, never.
Did you ever observe any strange behaviors
No,
on
sir.
any of the children?
No. No, like I said, they had great communication with me. We always had a good time. We would spend time outside whenever we could, whenever they were done with their homework, whenever they're done eating. I would try to use the meeting time that I had with them to do, to play with them and stuff, because since their parents were always at work, they were always busy. I didn't want them to be bored. They're kids. So I just did the best I could as an aunt, And I was always aware of my surroundings. I would always pay attention to them. I would always observe. My heart was always there.
Did you, in this house when you were there, did you have your own bedroom?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember? And I understand it's hard to think about this, without a map, but can you describe for the jury where your bedroom was in the house?
Yes, sir. Okay, so you enter the front door, you open it. As soon as you open the front door, you see the living room. There's a couch against the left wall, and then a bigger couch, like a 3-seated couch against the right wall. And then there's a TV on top of the chimney mounted. Then you enter, you see all that, you turn to the left, there's a clear sliding door to the right side. And then a few more steps forward, there's a kitchen. The dining table's right here, to the left side.
I object to narrative at this point.
All right, that'll be sustained.
Okay, let me break it down. Where was your bedroom located, along a wall or along?
Yeah, my bedroom was right next to my nieces and nephews. I'm like right next to them.
Okay, so you had reason to go into your nieces and nephews' nieces and nephews' bedroom, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what would you go in there for?
Oh, they would cry. Like I said, my youngest niece was a baby. She was in diapers, so whenever she was hungry or I needed to change her diaper, I would get up in 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning at different times, get up and feed her, change her diaper. And it goes the same for my little nephew, Junior, Rogelio Jr. He was still in Pampers, but he was a toddler. He could walk around. The baby one, she couldn't, she would crawl.
Let me stop you right there. How many kids were sleeping in that bedroom?
4.
4 kids.
Yes, sir.
How many beds were in there?
There was one twin bed, and then there was a crib for the baby. And then the smallest baby, well, not smallest, the toddler baby would sleep on the floor. Like he had like his own mattress or little, like he would set up blankets on the floor for himself, or his sisters would set it up for him.
And forgive me, I want to make sure I'm understanding you right. There was a crib and a bed which 2 kids shared?
Yes, yes, sir.
So 2 kids are sharing a twin bed
Yes, sir.
and 1 kid was sleeping on the floor.
Yes, sir.
While you were there, did you ever notice an opportunity or a time where there were not kids in that room?
No, they would always hang out in the room, or I was right next to the room, so I was fully aware of where the kids were. So the room was never empty. They were always in there, or we would be playing outside. I mean, my eyesight was never off of my nephews.
And you were living in the house in, I want to say October of 2019.
I don't have I don't have a specific date.
Okay.
Like I don't recall, right? But it should be around that time.
Do you recall when you moved into the house?
It should be like in the beginnings of 2018, maybe around May.
Okay, and how long did you live there?
A few months.
2018 or 2019?
Well, I'm assuming it's around, I think it's around 2018. This happened like 5 years ago when we were living in that house.
Okay. But regardless of the time, Jesse was living in the house while you were there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. While you were there, did you ever notice any sort of inappropriate behavior between Jesse and Christine?
No, sir. None whatsoever at all.
Did you ever notice any sort of sexual innuendo between Jesse and Christine?
No, sir.
Did you ever notice Jesse and Christina by themselves?
No, sir. And I wouldn't allow that. Like we were raised different. This is It's-
non-responsive.
Overruled. You can answer.
We were raised different, I wouldn't allow it. This is crazy. Like, this is something that's very hard to believe. It's,
Again to non-responsive.
That objection will be sustained.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, state.
Hi, Lupe, you said Lupe, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you mind if I call you Lupe or do you prefer Ms. Hinojo?
Lupe is fine.
Okay, just have a few questions. I talk fast, you talk fast. Let's try to both keep it nice and slow for the court reporter in front of you.
Awesome.
So you said that someone else would sometimes help you watch the kids, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's fair to say that you weren't watching the kids 24/7, correct? That you had time to yourself.
A little bit of time will, the two older ones would go to school. All right, so from the morning to the time they're at school, they're not with me 24/7, of course, right? But when they are with me, they are with me at, like, I'm fully aware of my nieces and nephews. Well, the whole sharing the kid, that's his godmother, so she would pick him up maybe once a week. That's where we would share her taking care of Rogelio Jr. But that's about it. 24/7. To be like more realistic about the situation, it's obviously when they're attending school, I'm not watching them. But when they're out of school, I am fully aware of my surroundings. I'm fully aware of them, and I am taking care of them.
And I just have two more questions for you. Well, actually one. You're related to both two. So you're related to both Christina and to Jesse, correct?
Yes, and I love both of them.
That was my second question. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass the witness.
All right, defense.
1 second, Judge. Nothing further, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
She is from the defense.
Yes, from the state judge.
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Defense, call your next witness.
Defense will call Jesse Hinojo.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record, please.
My name's Jesse Hinojo.
All right, defense.
Jesse, where do you live right now?
Edinburgh, Texas.
And what do you do down there?
Down there, well, I have family down there, but for work wise, I have to travel 8 hours to West Texas.
What do you do in West Texas?
Oil field.
Are you single, married?
I'm married
Married? How long?
for 3 years,
Do you have any kids?
2 boys.
When did you move to the house on Hunter's son?
I moved, I say May 2018.
Okay.
Mhm.
How long did you live there?
I lived there for 3 months.
What'd you move up there for?
I was entering a program in St. Philip's.
What kind of program?
It was a physical therapist assistant.
Let me back up a second. Before you moved to the house on Hunter's son, where were you living?
Edinburgh.
In Edinburgh. So you moved to San Antonio from Edinburgh.
Yes, sir.
Whose idea was it for you to move into this house?
It was mine. Roger Hinojo and Rosie Hinojo were the only family I had in San Antonio. And like I said, I wanted to enter a program in St. Philip's. and Roger took me in his household.
Did he invite you to say, hey, come live with us?
Yes.
Were you paying rent?
No, I wasn't.
What did you have to do around the house?
I would help out my aunt Lupe. Sometimes if Roger or Rosie would get home late or we're not at the household, I would sometimes have to take the kids to school or sometimes pick them up if they're coming back late home.
Did you have to share a car with Lupe?
No.
Did you ever give Lupe rides anywhere?
Yes.
Who do you remember was living at the house at the time you were there?
When I was there, it was my uncle Rogelio, my aunt Rosie, the 5 children, and my aunt Lupe.
Okay. And when you said your uncle Rogelio, that was your uncle Roger?
Yes, correct.
Do you remember, in your mind, do you remember how big the house was?
It wasn't that big.
You remember how many bedrooms it had?
It had 3.
Okay. Which bedroom did you stay in?
I didn't stay in the house. There was another like shed in the back, and I was sharing that with my cousin Angel.
And when you say shed, you're using that term pretty generously. I mean, it had electricity and
Yes, it did. Yes, of course.
did it have a bathroom in there?
No, it didn't.
Do you remember how many children were staying in the children's bedroom?
Yes, there was 4.
You remember how many beds were in there?
Just 1 twin bed.
Where did your aunt stay? Was she in the house or outside?
No, she was staying in the house.
Do you remember how big Christina's bedroom was?
It wasn't too big. It was a pretty small room.
In your testimony, there were 4 kids staying in there or sleeping in there?
Yes.
Now you said, oops, sorry, back up a second here. You obviously applied to this program in St. Philip's. Do you remember when you started school there?
I started.
Program?
I say like mid-June. I mean mid-May. Like mid-May.
Did you work?
Yes.
Where'd you work at?
HEB warehouse.
What'd you do there?
It was just packing. It was just like getting the stuff out the trailers and stacking them right there in the warehouse.
Did you work there very long?
No, I didn't.
What happened?
So I had got word that my little sister was trying to commit suicide, and I just dropped everything and went back home.
You went back home to Hunter Son or you went back home to Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Did you pack up your stuff and leave?
Yes, of course. I went back, packed up my stuff, and I just went. First thing I went back to Edinburgh.
Did you tell anybody you were leaving?
Uh, the only person I told was Lupe.
Were at the time this happened, were your aunt and uncle out of the house or gone?
They were gone. They weren't there.
Is your sister okay?
Yes, she's fine now. Yes, she's good.
Were your uncle and aunt around the house much?
No, they weren't.
You know what they were doing?
From what they told me, they just said they would do Uber Eats and DoorDash, and most of the time they would go to Austin because that's where they would get more customers at.
Did you enjoy being around your extended family?
Yes, I did.
Did you enjoy sorry, I can't speak. Did you enjoy trying to take care of them?
Yeah, I was always willing to help Lupa with anything, help them out. Wherever the kids needed or wanted to go, wherever they wanted to go, I would always be there for them.
Did you ever notice any of the children acting out of sorts?
It's a vague question, Your Honor.
I'll rephrase. Did you ever notice any strange behavior by the children?
No.
Do you recall the last time you saw Christina?
Yes. It was 3 months after I left. My father had invited them over for a cookout.
Was this down in Edinburgh?
Yes, sir.
Did you speak to her?
Yes, I said hey to everybody, hello, and that's about it.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we?
Yeah.
Were you ever alone with Christina?
No.
Were you ever, let me rephrase the question, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Were you ever alone with Christina at the house?
No.
Did you ever touch Christina inappropriately in the living room?
No.
Did you ever make any sort of inappropriate sexual gesture to Christina?
No.
Did you ever kiss her?
No.
Did you ever touch her thighs over her clothes?
No.
Did you ever touch her body in any fashion under her clothes?
No.
Did you ever grope her?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever try to touch her breasts?
No.
Did you ever try to, I'm sorry, did you ever penetrate Christina's body with your fingers?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever go to her room by yourself?
No.
Not even to take laundry or anything like that?
No.
Was it your opinion that children's room was off limits and you just would not go there?
Objection to counsel testifying and to leaving.
I'll rephrase.
All right, that'll be sustained. You can rephrase.
Did you have any reason to go into her room?
No.
Did you ever pin her on her bed?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever remove her pants and underwear?
No.
Did you ever touch Christina's vagina with your penis?
Absolutely not. No.
Did you ever penetrate her vagina with your penis?
No.
Did Christina ever come into the room you were staying in the shed?
Yes.
Did.
Yes.
What happened?
She went in there, and I was with my cousin Angel. When she went in there, my cousin had asked her to leave.
Did she do that often?
Sometimes.
Was she asked to leave each time?
Yes.
Perhaps a better way of asking this question should have been, did she ever come into your bedroom while you were there alone?
Of course not. No.
What did she do when she came to visit the bedroom when Angel was there?
There was a desk where he would always have his laptop at, and she would just sit there and try to play games, but my cousin Angel would get mad and just would ask her to leave.
Did you ever get on top of Christina on your bed?
No,
Was she ever on your bed?
no,
Did you ever touch her breast through her clothes on your bed?
no,
Did you ever decide, I'm gonna move, let me rephrase that. Did you ever move her, an article of clothing she was wearing to the side to
no,
touch her?
no,
Did you ever kiss Christina in your room?
absolutely not.
Think back over the 3 months you were in that house. Have you ever made any sort of inappropriate comment with Christina that regards something sexual?
No.
What would y'all talk about?
Uh, just like what kind of anime she likes or type of video game she plays, because I had an Xbox, and then that's pretty much it. That's all we would talk about. But I mean, we did love anime. That's it.
You really didn't talk to her too much, is my understanding of what you're saying. Is that correct?
Yeah, we hardly talk.
You ever been in trouble with the law before?
No, sir.
Even a speeding ticket?
Object at this point, Your Honor, to relevancy.
That'll be overruled.
Just one speeding ticket. That's it.
A speeding ticket?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
State.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hinojo. I'm just gonna ask you a few questions, and
Okay.
you've heard me, you know, I talk fast, so if I
Yes.
speak too fast, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
So you said you lived there for 3 months, and you moved in May, correct?
Correct.
So it's fair to say that you lived there during the summer.
Yes.
Okay, and so the kids were out of school,
The kids were at school.
because it's the summer.
Correct.
The kids were usually home.
Yeah.
And you are the only person out of all the witnesses, you may have noticed, none of the other witnesses get to sit in
Mhm.
while the testimony is going on, correct?
Correct.
You're the only witness who gets to listen to everything,
Correct.
correct? I just needed a
Your Honor,
verbal
may we
answer.
approach?
Yes.
So you get, you know, as you're right, as the defendant, you get to sit and listen to everything, correct? But you're the only witness who testifies, who gets to hear what everyone else said, right?
Yes.
And then you were interviewed way back in 2020, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you've had 4 years to think about this date coming, correct?
Correct.
So basically, what it comes down to is that you want the jury to believe that Christina is lying and you're the only one who's truthful, correct?
Yes.
That's the witness.
Defense.
Jesse, the state mentioned that interview 4 years ago. Do you recall that interview?
Yes.
Do you recall what you told the detective at that video?
I'm gonna object to hearsay, Your Honor.
That'll be overruled. The
Yeah.
answer to that question is either yes or no.
Yes.
Did you admit any wrongdoing?
No.
You denied it.
Yes.
Has your story ever changed?
No. Never changed.
Pass the witness.
State.
No further questions.
All right, is the witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down.
Okay.
Defense,
We rest, Your Honor.
state,
Rest and close, Your Honor.
defense, do you close? All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., what will end up happening is both the state and the defense will have the opportunity to present closing arguments to you if they so choose. So remember my instructions. Do not start deliberating with yourself about this case. Do not talk to anyone about this case. Do not deliberate with anyone else about this case. Do not do any investigation. Do not do any research. If you see anything or hear anything, totally ignore it. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from. All right, one day you all just gonna hit it at the right spot. So everything that you need to know about this case is to come from. Thank you. All right, we're off the record. So this is the parking situation on Friday. On Friday, no jurors are ordered up unless there's a judge who asks for jurors to be ordered up. So when you all came in and you had the large group of jurors, about 300 or 400 people, that's not going to be the case on Friday. So there will probably be room in the parking garage. But again, to ensure that you'll probably get space, you probably want to be here about 8:30, but we're going to start at 9. And you know what's in the jury room. So if you want to bring breakfast, you're more than welcome to do that. Any questions about anything? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. So everyone will come back tomorrow at 9 for closing arguments, and you can shut down, Anna. What I'm going to do is before we leave today, I'm going to email you all the charge that's been sent to me. Review it. If there's anything you want to change, let me know. We can always have